think we're good?
I think so.
Okay.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good evening.
Depends where you're at or when you're watching this, because it could be later. Hey, okay,
yes.
that's working though.
Yes, indeed. What should we talk about?
I don't know.
You look like you're wondering what to talk about.
I know, because I think I already talked about
here.
it.
Maybe we should talk about that.
I feel like deja vu.
Yeah, it does. We just did this 3 minutes ago. We kind of had a technical hitch, so apologies for starting a few minutes late. We are in the glorious Channel 9 studios, though.
Yes, you don't see the beautiful weather outside.
No,
we don't have any windows in the studio.
It's all over the place right now.
It's very strange. From
very warm.
40 to 79. Awesome.
Yes.
Neener. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So
let's get into it. Logic Apps. What's been happening in Logic Apps? Is that what you? I think that's what everybody came here for, right?
I hope so.
They didn't want to look at us.
I hope not. Yeah, they're going to be disappointed.
No.
Maybe a little disappointed.
Yeah, maybe for you. I don't know. All right. So what's new? We have a lot of stuff that's happening in Logic Apps, and there's some big things that we've been working on. So this what's new list isn't necessarily as long as we might have seen in the past. Especially since we're not as frequent in doing our Logic Apps Live, but we've been doing some really big things. And the big thing we've been working on is the Integration Service Environment public preview.
Yes.
It's like finally it's in public preview. That just went out in public preview last month. Everybody is so excited because now you can see the fruits of our labor over many dev months of work.
And months on your side for some of you who've been involved in the private preview as well, right? Who've sent some great feedback to make sure we really went out there, with a really solid public preview. It's awesome to get the feedback and. Yeah. Yes,
what is ICE? ICE is the ability to give you a private environment where you can run your Logic Apps where nobody else's stuff runs. You get your own isolated storage and VNet connectivity, so you can connect to your entities either across an express route or a VPN connection, or to your private PaaS offerings that connect via service endpoints, for example. And so that's all yours. Nobody else gets to run it, and it's close to the metal of your network that's talking to your entity. So you have a true hybrid capability in a private environment.
Yep. What's
next? Static results. This has been a feature that's been a long time ask for Logic Apps customers. It's one of the big testability items that we have in our list of testability features, and it's finally out. What is static results?
Yeah.
What is that thing? So it gives you the ability to mock your outputs for any of the actions in your workflow, so that, for example, if you want to not call some expensive to call system, while you're doing your testing, or you want to try different code paths, you can go ahead and mock the outputs for that particular action or a whole bunch of actions in your Logic app, and then try it out and see what happens. And I'll be doing a demo of this a little later.
Yeah, and it's great for that, but also think about the scenarios where you need to connect to SAP and you don't have a dev SAP instance handy, right? It's very easy then to kind of mock the outputs from that, so you can actually build your Logic app while somebody's helping figure out how to give you connectivity to the endpoint system, so you can actually get on with building the Logic app out, and then you can test it.
Yeah, sometimes it gives you really weird return results, and how do you test those real return results and stuff?
Different paths, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's next? Delete run API.
Yeah, what's that about?
Delete run. Why would you want to delete a run?
Yeah, is that before or after?
I would hopefully it's after. So we have scenarios where we have customers of customers, and so they build a Logic app as part of their application, so that their customers under the covers is using a Logic app to execute their workloads. And so when their customers leave their application, they want to be able to delete information about that customer. So the data that we maintain is in our run history, so now you can go and find all the runs for a particular customer if you set up some type of tracking or correlation that we have available in Logic Apps, and then go ahead and delete all those runs, so then all that data is gone, and then your customers are happy because they're not leaving any remnants in your app.
Yeah.
The other scenario that a customer asked me for just yesterday or the day before was, hey, I'm doing resubmits, and I don't want all the bad the failed runs to litter up my run history. So after it's successfully resubmitted, delete the one that failed, so then I have a clean set of history. It's like, great.
So this is great for like GDPR, right? Where you want to make sure there's no residue from all the Logic Apps runs that you had. You can have an API that you can clean that up and make sure you only have the run history that you want.
Yeah.
Basically.
And for you dorks out there, it's good for demos, right? You try your Logic app before a demo at a presentation.
You get the 25 failed ones.
Right, then delete the old ones, and hey, look, it's doing it for the first time. Magic.
Yeah, awesome.
Little
stuff.
Yeah, we shouldn't tell everybody that one. Right?
No, that never happens to us.
Nah, no, of course not.
No, not at all.
Next, handling many parameters. So if any of you have used one of our actions that connects to a service that has a lot of input parameters, what happened before is that you saw this huge card, you'd have to scroll to find the property you care about, and you only care about 2 or 3 of them, but it's taking up all this real estate every time you open it up. And so that's really annoying. So we've handled that better. So now you only see the required parameters and then a selector for the parameters you actually care about. So then when you open and close the card, you're only seeing the stuff you want, and then you save a whole bunch of real estate. So that's a nice delighter for folks.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Hope so. Yeah. Tell us. Yeah.
Tracking for batch trigger. So we've had tracking in Logic Apps before, but we had a little gap where the batch trigger wasn't sharing as much of its tracking information as we had in the past. So now you can get more events for the tracking information that's going on for a batch trigger. So when you send a message to a batch, or when the batch completes, now you get tracking events indicating that and what's in those
messages. Yeah, and I think
it's
even more than that, right? In that if you set the batch release criteria to like maybe 1,000, you may want to know by looking at the tracking data how full that batch is prior to release, right? So the tracking data,
because you can have some pretty complex release criteria. It could be days and size, and like was that batch actually 999 or 1,000?
Yeah, so
you get to find that out.
Data as well now to allow you to see what's going on inside these things.
Yes. And last but not least, Azure Gov Cloud Arizona. So that's me hugging the U.S. government. No. So now we're more available in Azure Gov Cloud. So we're already in Texas. Now we're in Arizona, and then we'll talk about other regions coming up. So now you get to have your Logic Apps running in all those hot places for the government.
Yeah.
For your government.
We should have like an eagle here or something. But
oh yeah,
we've got this little guy instead. Yeah.
Monkey.
Yeah.
Stop messing around.
Right.
Okay,
what
that's
else?
it. That doesn't seem like a lot, but it's actually a lot. That first one up top, that was a lot. We were so happy to get that out and in everybody's hands. All right.
More though, right?
Of course there's more.
Yeah.
Because we got connectors. We got lots and lots of connectors.
Yes.
It's awesome. Look at that long list of connectors.
I know. Let's cover off a couple of these.
Yeah.
Shall I go first?
Of course.
Because this one's, I think I've mentioned before, but if I haven't, this is one I'm particularly excited about, which is the 3270 connector. Now, why this is a big deal, so this is IBM mainframe connectivity, and it's 3270, not IBM mainframe, because that is the screen protocol for being able to interact directly with the applications. So this is kind of a different way of integrating with mainframe apps than what we've had in the past, where you kind of often had to make changes on the IBM side of this in order to be able to integrate with it, and that's problematic for a whole bunch of reasons, right? It takes time, you've got to find the people who have the skills. This makes it super easy that now you can just pull up that mainframe app, record it using a tool that we ship as part of the connector. That creates a new type of map, including the fields and navigation. You upload that into Logic Apps, and then you can use a connector and you see all the screen navigation as actions on the connector on the Logic app. So one guy can record this who knows the mainframe, and another guy can then create the Logic app and actually drive the mainframe application, map the fields in and out, just like you would do with any other connector, super easily. And this is, if you're familiar with this kind of space of recording and playing back with integration, this is kind of this robotic process automation RPA space that we're kind of doing with this. The ability to, the ability to drive this through the UI rather than having to go through a programmatic interface. Because that can be difficult sometimes, especially with older systems.
RPA at your fingertips in the cloud,
I know,
right? You couldn't do that before, right?
It's cool. One other thing actually I should point out, because obviously we have docs for this. This is a public preview right now. One other thing, we ship a tool that actually simulates the mainframe as well. So we give you a sample of a bank, Woodrow Bank, and that allows you to just try it out. You can.
Is there a lot of money in there?
Well, yeah, not much, but
okay.
Probably even less now that I've said it, right? 2 years ago. Empty that. So you can try it out with the actions that provides. You can kind of get the balance and interact with it without even having a mainframe. So
if you really love your green screen and you want to continue to hug it, we give you that opportunity.
It's cool. It's cool. Yeah.
So we got lots and lots of other connectors. There's two that we got for security. So the Azure Sentinel Trigger, allowing you to get alerts and events about security issues that are happening in your services, and the Microsoft Graph Security, which is connecting to the Microsoft Graph, which gives you a whole slew of data that more and more security entities are publishing into the graph. So then you can pull all that information out and then create logic apps that have you can react to it, all those security things, and either create tickets or send up notifications. So then you can automate that and have it any way you want.
Yeah, and this actually opens up a few things as well. So in the past, we've even had Sarah Fender on on the show to talk about Security Center integration.
Yep. So
just think about, there's this sort of space emerging where people are actually trying to automate and orchestrate security events, right? So these two connectors really plug into the security orchestration world that you can now use Logic Apps to kind of pull that data and ship it, right? Move it around. Maybe you want to put an alert in Teams. Maybe you want to create a ticket in ServiceNow. You have all of these capabilities at your fingertips through the other connectors we have, and now you can orchestrate the events themselves essentially by using these new connectors.
Super powerful.
Cool. Yeah, it is. It is. Rather than just staring at screens with stuff scrolling off the top.
Yeah, and 5 or 6 different screens. You don't know where the alert's coming from, and how do you react to each one of those. So yeah, it's going to be very cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
The next two are interesting because we're seeing more and more connectors around blockchain. So now with the Chainpoint and ZooDB, these are more facilities that we already have the Ethereum connector for. This is kind of more modern B2B. And as you start thinking about cross company interactions, more and more of them are doing these blockchain events. So you're seeing more and more investment from either companies or even Microsoft in this area. So keep looking out for this kind of stuff. And then we got a whole slew of other ones. We have all these guys who are where the service owners are actually building these connectors for us and then getting them published out. So we'll continue to see this grow. It's awesome.
It is.
Yeah. Are we done? No, we're not done. Of course not.
No.
Because we have a demo. Demo, yay!
Yes.
Let's before you dome. Okay. That's what we're showing. Great. So on my screen, what you should see is a logic app, and this is a very simple logic app where in a request received, we're going to go initialize the variable, and I'm going to send a very important email to indicate that something went wrong, and then if everything's well, it'll send out another request to some external system, and then send back an appropriate response depending on what the set variable was for the result. So great. I mean, this is normal logic app, but what happens if I didn't? I want to test this, but I don't want to pound my inbox with all these emails. That's really hard today, and you have to kind of fake it, maybe create a different connection while you're testing, or send it to a different account that you'll dump, and have to switch it back when you go out in production. Or what happens if, did I do the left-hand side right, which is the error handling case? You see this red ... which means it's a run after the previous step failed. So we have a great facility to help you to do that. But how do I test that? That's been really hard. You can either cross your fingers, or how do you make Outlook fail? You got to do something that is a bad request or something. So it's been really hard in the past. So what we want to do is give you some static results. So we have this new setting here. So if you see the setting called static results, if I go ahead and click on that, what you'll have is the switch, say enable static results. And what we do is we go interrogate the output schema of that action and allow you to, in a successful case, you get to set all the output fields. And in this case, I'm going to set it to failed. So I want to simulate a failure in my logic app. Say it's a bad request. I'm going to say done. And then what you'll see after I hit done is this little beaker, test beaker icon on the action card. So it's, hey, when you come back to your logic app, this is not actually calling Outlook. It's going to take that static result and return it instead when you go ahead and run it. So what that should do is go down my fail path, which is this left-hand side. Yeah, we're not transposed. So this left-hand side. So if I go ahead and save it and run, what you'll see is, after the logic app gets kicked off, that it will go down and hit that action type. and the action, because I said it was a failure, it failed, so bad request. That was my setting. And it went down my error path. And so you can see that it went down my error path with these check marks, and it returned the bad result, right? Something went wrong. Fantastic. So that was the intention. So if I go back to my designer, and there's a little shortcut, so I can go right to my static results. I just turn it off. I'm done. I save, and I run again. This time it will actually send me an email, because it's going to actually run that Outlook step, and go down the right path, because it was successful. And if my Nostradamus brain is right, it does, right? So it goes ahead and does the send important mail, and goes down this right path. So now I have a mail in my inbox saying that, hey, looks like there's an issue that was in your system. Great. And that's it. It's that easy to go ahead and create static results. And you can put this all over the place in your Logic app. And we have a lot of great features planned for this in the future. So let's hear your feedback about how you'd like to use it going forward.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Yeah. OK. So that was our demo. What's next? That's the question. It's like, what is next? The stuff in progress is next, of course.
People are asking about one of the things that's next right now in the chat.
Oh, is that right? Should we take a break, or no? Maybe we'll let them know, because it's in progress.
Yep.
So of course the next thing, we talked about the integration service environment being in public preview,
yep.
And now we're trying to get it to general availability. So we're working hard at putting a nice polish on it, and making sure it's meeting all the requirements, and get it into your hands as soon as possible to be GA. And fully supported and all that great stuff.
Yeah.
So we're working hard on that, and going to get that out as soon as possible. And so in the integration service environment, there are connectors that run inside of the environment, and those are the typical things that you normally run across an on-premises data gateway, which you no longer need if you're using an ICE and talking to entities in your VNet, or reachable from your VNet. And so we have a number of connectors there today, and in public preview, these two are missing, but we're going to add them very soon, SAP and file system, and we have a couple others in our back pocket, like DB2 and a couple other ones that will light up here as well. So if you don't see the ICE connector that you're looking for, it's coming. If not, let us know, and we'll make sure that that's prioritized to get out there. What's next? Ooh. Actually, that's done already. Hey, easy.
That's why it's got the question mark.
That's why it's got a question mark. Yeah. OK. Let's switch back to the video. So the VS Code is a great item that we've been working on, and people have been asking about it, and we're continuing doing work. So one of the next things that we're going to do is work on VS Code, because VS Code is a project for VS Code, which means that you get to work in entities in kind of like a pure project space. So then you can go and publish your Logic app just as that, and any of the deployment stuff with ARM is all hidden from you and abstracted. Then you can do real CI/CD integration through the VS Code project. It's going to be super cool.
Can you have more than one Logic app in the project?
Of course. You can lots of Logic apps.
Yeah. So that, with the integration account artifacts as well, maps and schemas and everything else, is going to make it a lot easier, right, to manage multiple Logic apps and the associated pieces that go with it, to make it super easy to kind of put that together and deploy. Right?
Yep, your integration accounts, your connections, all that will be created in there. So it's going to be really, really helpful and easy.
Yeah.
And we're going to make more investments for you more dorky guys who like to be in CodeView, to have more IntelliSense and other things if you want to go right into CodeView and make that stuff happen. Because it's VS Code, that's what guys do.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. What's next? Ooh, RosettaNet.
Yeah, RosettaNet. So this is one of the B2B protocols. It's been around for a pretty long time. It's very prevalent in the supply chain electronics industry. So new capability that we have had in the past with Bizdal that we're now going to have in Logic Apps that will preview soon.
Yeah, this is extending our current EDI capability. So if you're using Edifact and X12, RosettaNet is that next type of EDI type of workload, and we're making our platform richer and better, and more enterprisey.
Yeah.
Okay.
More enterprisey.
It's
already enterprisey.
But it's more enterprisey, you know.
Even more.
Yeah. Take it over the top. It's just going to be boiling over in enterprisey stuff.
Yeah.
So I talked about Azure Gov Cloud Arizona. The next one that's coming out is Azure Gov Cloud Virginia. So this one's just around the corner, so you should be seeing this light up pretty soon. So then, if you're in DC, now you have a very close data center where you can run your Gov Cloud workloads. Yeah.
Cool.
Ooh, MSI GA. So managed service identity. So we've released managed service identities already. We had some internal constraints where we had to limit the number of identities you could have in your subscription. And we've been trying to work through that vigorously, trying to get that lifted for quite some time. And we're really close to getting that done. So once we lift that limit on the subscription, then we will mark this as GA, and then you can go start parting on it. But we've got more stuff coming in MSIs, not just the system identity, but user assigned identities will come soon after that as well. What else? Connectors. Look at all these connectors that we're working on.
Yes.
And so, you saw that long list of connectors that were released. Sometimes we get surprised by these third parties that come in and create connectors, and you can, as a third party, if you own your service, you can go ahead and submit your connector to get published as well. So some of the things that we're working on connectors: SQL Azure AD support. We've been working on a feature called multi-auth for connectors that allows us to have multiple authentication modes for a particular connector, which has been a constraint before. So now that we've added that capability under the covers, now we can do something like add SQL Azure AD. Another one that I didn't list here is that we'll also add service bus entity authentication. So right now we have namespace authentication, so we can do it on the entity, because now we have that multi-auth capability, so you can have a choice of where you're going to do that as well. And SAP GA. Yes, this is very exciting. Especially our enterprise customers that use SAP, they get kind of squeamish when it's not GA. So we're trying to get it GA as soon as possible, so you can go ahead and not worry that it's a preview one. No, it'll be GA, and you can go party on that thing.
Yeah, to make it even more enterprisey.
Even more enterprisey.
Are we talking about mainframes, talking about SAP? Can we be even more enterprisey? I don't know.
No, I don't think it's possible. Who else can be? I think we're the vanguard of enterprisey in Azure, right?
Yeah.
But the big one that's coming up is Azure Key Vault. We were super close to releasing it about a month ago, and we had to pull it back because we were missing something with tenant recognition. So that's about to come out, so look for that in the next 2 weeks or so. That should be coming right around the corner. So Azure Key Vault is a highly asked for connector that is about to be released.
Somebody's asking for it on the chat.
There you go. So I have answered your request. You're welcome.
That's right. You're
almost welcome.
Right.
And then Amazon. So there's a bunch of, we already have Redshift today, and so we're continuing our investment in some of the Amazon services, so SQS, S3, and SNS, and those are actually pretty close to being done as well. So it's not like we're just thinking about it. It's just in the hopper behind Key Vault for getting those lit up. And then we have guys doing Lithium and RealPad and some other third-party connectors, and we'll be surprised by other ones that they don't tell us. They're just going to go ahead and release it.
Heading towards the big 300, right?
Yeah, we're getting closer.
Yeah.
Wow, cool. 300.
Yeah.
Should have a party.
Should do.
Get a patch.
Get a cake.
Okay. All right. What else? This is a reminder. So don't forget, if you use Azure Scheduler, Azure Scheduler is being deprecated on September 30th of this year. And so Logic Apps is your Azure scheduling service if you want to go do those workloads. So please look at Azure Logic Apps to do your scheduled workloads. If you're already on Scheduler, move to Logic Apps. If you're thinking about scheduling workloads, don't forget that Logic Apps does all the things that Scheduler can do and more, because now you can have all these actions, activities, and workflows associated with your schedules for running.
Yeah, and with 6 months to go, now's a great time to start looking at that if you are using Scheduler. You should find this easy. If you don't, tell us, let us know, and we'll see what we can do to help. We've helped some customers already who have thousands of schedules to move across the Logic apps. It's gone pretty well. It's been a very straightforward process. We have docs that show you how to do this. So if you feel like you're running into troubles with this, then just reach out to us, and we'll see how we can help.
Yeah, we have patterns to help you with. If you're using scheduling as an entity, per entity type of thing, we have patterns. So don't worry about. You don't have to have a Logic app per job per se. But there are other means to do that, so don't dismiss it if that's what you thought was going on. Okay, what else? Oh, we got things going on.
Let's get us out of the way.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, Global Integration Bootcamp. So this is an event which is, what, a week on Saturday?
Yeah, very close.
Very
that
close.
timer is on.
Yeah, end of the month. So this is run by partners and MVPs and experts outside of Microsoft, basically, right? So we may show up in places, but it's really driven by the community, which is awesome. So just like, hopefully there's one of these events running near you. There's a whole bunch of them. Just go to the website, take a look, and see if there's one in your neighborhood. You can go along and spend a day of learning more about the integration capabilities that we have in Azure, maybe some of the ones that you've kind of wanted to find the time to play around with and haven't found it, but you're already using some of them. Come along and learn from that, and see how this stuff can help you in your daily life. Yeah,
a lot of these guys who are doing this are, they work out in the field, and there are partners, et cetera, so they're experts in these areas. So it's also a great opportunity just to go and find a pool of guys you can ask questions about and kick the tires on some of the stuff that's happening underneath there. All right, what's else? This is still going on. So, this has been traveling all around the world, and we got a whole bunch left.
Yeah, I think it's like 19 locations, something like that. So, yeah, I think they're still halfway through, maybe a bit more than halfway through.
8 or 9 left, yeah.
Yeah.
So, some are sold out. It's so popular. But keep your eye out on this web page to go find the ones that are near you. I think the next one's in Amsterdam. That one's sold out.
That's right now.
That's right now, yeah.
Because a friend of the show, Jeff Holland, is there this week.
In Holland?
Right now?
No.
Jeff Holland. Jeff Holland in Holland.
In Netherlands, right? In Netherlands.
That's how you called me there.
Okay.
Jeff Holland, yes. Yeah. So Jeff's there. So if you're in Amsterdam, hopefully you're there at the event already. And I'm watching this on the recording. So yeah, great.
Yeah, high five, Jeff.
He's there representing, I think, talking about the functions, and also meeting with customers, talking about functions, Logic apps, and all the goodness that we have around those in Azure.
Yeah, very cool.
All right.
Good stuff. And then the big one, integrate.
Yes. So this is, I think, the largest Microsoft integration event in the world. It happens every year in London. At around about the same time, just at the beginning of summer. We're also running this here on campus in Redmond as well, in our convention center. So Building 33, as we affectionately call it, which is fantastic facility. We've got probably the best room, auditorium in there. So I'd really encourage people, if you're based in Europe, to look at attending the European event in London. And if you're based in North America, then it's a great opportunity to not just kind of come to the event and hear from the product groups and hear from MVPs and again from the community about what's going on in integration, what's new, a lot of best practices, right, that our community do a fantastic job, a better job than we do. And honestly, it's like talking about like the field, kind of the battle scars, is like how you can get speed ups in terms of your deployments. When you use our technologies, they're great at talking about that. But also an awesome opportunity, because you're here on campus, to kind of meet with even more people that you may already know, because everything's right here. So
yeah, so we'll have guys. Of course, we'll have a big contingency in London, but since we're in our hometown, we'll have the whole product teams and related Azure services.
Absolutely,
we're gonna hang out there.
Yep.
Maybe we'll have some special appearances.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anticipation. We'll just leave it at that. Sign up. Go ahead and register.
You got time, plenty of time, but don't leave it to the last minute.
But make the guys who are managing the events feel better and register sooner.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's our show. As always, you can reach out to us on Twitter, user voice for features, and this is our link for our webcast. And if you want to be an advisor, you can go ahead and join our advisors group on Yammer. But that's it.
Okay, so we've got a few questions though.
All right, let's do the questions.
Let's throw this up and let's just answer them as we go through. So, IntelliSense in code view, please. So yes, we talked about that. If you're talking about in Visual Studio Code, right? That's that's coming, right? In
Yes.
terms of like we have some support, you're going to get richer support for that. The cool thing about the Visual Studio kind of extensions, Visual Code extensions, the way that stuff works is you also get IntelliSense for things like Liquid. So if you're using Liquid Maps, you kind of get IntelliSense for that stuff as well as the Logic Apps
and XML stuff,
and
right?
XML, yeah.
Right.
So it's kind of all kind of nicely integrated into the system, and the project we're working on as well is just going to make that even easier. Mikhail Sand, proper
cool.
CI/CD from the portal. Hey, Mikhail, like with Data Factory. So this is something we're looking at. So the whole kind of DevOps thing, you're going to see us focus more on this, to how we can make people's lives easier, your lives easier, and how you can package up and deploy and continuously deploy, your Logic Apps integration solutions. We know that can be challenging today, just fully relying on ARM templates and some of the parameterization of that. It's actually the MVP Summit this week, which has been awesome, like here in town as well. So we've heard loud and clear from those guys, kind of often representing, the general kind of customer population, that we need to spend a bit more time on this. So keep the feedback coming. We are looking at like what we need to do to make this a great experience. The VS Code thing is certainly going to help that, but I think there's more that we can do as well. Nikolai, see you in Seattle. Awesome, great.
Yeah.
So he's coming. And Daniel Ferreira, watching from the train coming back from Amsterdam, the Ignite Tour event.
There you go.
So,
see, we're in line.
Welcome. Thank you for joining. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because there's 8 hours from now.
That's right. Yeah, it must be nearly over. All right, I think that's it.
That's it.
In terms of questions, yeah. So let's just quickly flip back. Thank you very much for joining. We'll just throw this link up again just quickly, and we will see you next time.
Next time. Hopefully it won't be as long as last time. And the production was a lot better this time, wasn't it?
It was. I hope it was, anyway.
Yeah,
They'll tell us, I'm sure.
Yeah, they usually tell us, like, you guys suck at streaming.
Yeah, I can't
That's
hear
good.
you. That kind of stuff. Yeah.
We're much
All
better
right.
this time.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
And talk to you soon.